Hello Canadian gardeners, cold climate gardeners, and gardeners of the extremes. If you are new around here, my name is Ashley and I'm a soil scientist, and on this channel we take that as science and we apply it to gardening and plant care. So if you like the sounds of that, be sure to hit that subscribe button below and let me know what zone you are in, just because it helps engineer my videos towards what my audience is wanting to see. If you are returning, hello, nice to see you again. Let's get into the video. So today's video, we are going to be going over how to read the 3 digits on the bottle. And while you're probably thinking, I already know that, it's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, I'm going to be going a little bit deeper into exactly what those numbers mean, and of course putting a science spin on it. So we have our lovely volunteer here today, our pepper plant, Mr. Pepper, we'll call him, and we're going to be using him to identify what each one of these numbers mean and how to see if we are lacking in one of those 3 numbers or if we are over applying in one of those 3 numbers. We will be looking at this plant and showing exactly where an over fertilization would show up in this profile, also where a deficiency would show up in the plant, so exactly where you would see nitrogen, a deficiency, and what it would look like. So this is from the mouth of a soil scientist. This is not hokey pokey theory. This is actual legitimate way to identify what's going on with your plant and what fertilizers you need to add. So also going to be going over exactly how to apply a fertilizer so that you can reap the benefits properly. But what we won't be going through is exactly all the different types of fertilizer, because like I said, that is still coming in a later video. What I'm about to talk about applies for both organic and inorganic fertilizers. If you don't know the difference between the two, or if you want to gain a little bit more knowledge about the difference between the two, be sure to check out my video on inorganic versus organic. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So nitrogen, that is the big number that is located at the front of the 3-digit code. And it is a very important building block of plants, and it is what gives plants its green. And my brother was actually asking me the one day why his plants were so tall and so green but had no flowers. And the answer to that is very simple. It is too much nitrogen. He was using the Miracle-Gro all-purpose fertilizer, which has a 24 at the very front, meaning very high nitrogen content. That was what was causing his green foliage but no flowers. And if you look at the plants behind me, these marigolds are very green with not a lot of flowers. It means they have a lot of nitrogen. And the reason that they have so much nitrogen is because it has rained here like crazy the last however many literal weeks. And if you watch the video on rainwater and exactly how much nitrogen is contained in rainwater, the scenery behind me would make more sense, but essentially it's got a lot of nitrogen. And while this may not be a bad thing depending on what you're growing, in some cases it's less than ideal. If you're growing something like lettuce, spinach, an ivy, a pothos, a monstera, a fiddle leaf, literally anything that you're growing for foliage, then nitrogen is a good thing, and that's where something like a Miracle-Gro all-purpose would come into play. But if you're trying to grow flowers, in the case of a petunia or a marigold, or you're trying to gain fruit like a tomato or a pepper plant, then you may want to lay off on the amount of nitrogen in the fertilizer that you're using. So that again is the first number. And the way to kind of change this dynamic and make it work better for you is through getting plant food that is engineered for tomatoes, fruits, and vegetables, or a flower formula. So this, for example, is a formula that is engineered towards tomatoes, fruits, and vegetables, and it has a 10-5-15, and this is going to reduce the amount of green and increase the amount of blooms. You can get a little bit more intense, and you could get a fertilizer like this, which is a 5-17-12, depending on how many blooms you want. If you were going for pure flower, then this is also an option, but you have to add nitrogen. You can't just kill it off entirely, so there should be some form of nitrogen in what you're adding. Now, when adding it to the soil, this is also very important. Nitrogen has two mechanisms in which it is lost through the soil profile. First one being just because it's water soluble, one is bioavailable. If you water or add rainwater or anything, it'll leach its way out of the system and out of the grasp of the roots. This means if it's in a pot like Mr. Pepper here, you are just going to have your nitrogen is just going to run out the bottom, end up on the runoff, and then into your river system. It is not good, it is not environmentally friendly, and it is not a responsible way to garden. Versus if you were to top dress your plant with a slow release fertilizer instead of incorporating it into the soil profile, for example, you will lose it through something called volatilization, which means it's going to gas off into the atmosphere, which isn't necessarily environmentally harmful, but you're definitely going to lose a little bit of cash doing it that way. Again, this goes for organic and inorganic versions. The best way to apply a fertilizer in the case of a slow release formula such as this is to insert it just in this portion where the roots can grab it. You do not want to top dress because you will lose it through volatilization, but you also don't want to put it in this lower portion down here out of the reach of the roots because Mr. Pepper's not taking up the entire profile yet. This bottom portion is out of his reach and he will not utilize the nitrogen down here, and you will just simply water it out into the environment. So if you can put the fertilizer in the roundhouse of the root system, which would be right located here, that is where you want to go. Now, this might not be the greatest pot example because I'm sure his roots are kind of all over in here. It is a very small pot, but if you're using a large pot or a garden or a raised bed, then that is something to keep in mind. You do not want to put nitrogen below the root profile because it just gets leached out and you're wasting your money. Now, what does it look like when you have too much nitrogen in your plant? Well, besides the amount of lack of flowers that you may see, you're also going to realize very soft green foliage. So that means your foliage that comes out naturally, the new leaves are softer, but you're going to notice that these ones are a little bit more malleable and they're lighter green, for example. If the top blooms are lighter green, on the verge of yellow, and are very soft and malleable, meaning when you bend them, they don't crack, then that means you probably have too much nitrogen in your soil, which can happen when there is too much rain, for example. So Mr. Pepper here, you can see his top leaves are slightly lighter yellow than his bottom leaves, and that means he has too much nitrogen, and he was in the rain for a very long time, and so that would make sense. Foliage being soft and malleable with a very light green look to them means too much nitrogen in your soil. Now, what does lack of nitrogen look like? Well, that one's really obvious actually. That would mean that the old leaves, meaning the leaves at the bottom of your plant, are yellowing and falling off. So that would be the leaves at the bottom portion. Unfortunately, I don't have any examples of that in my garden. Between the different mechanisms I use, I'm pretty heavy on the nitrogen. So I don't have any examples that I can show you, but I will try to insert some photos of exactly what that looks like. Because nitrogen is bioavailable at a wide range of pH, it's very unlikely that pH has anything to do with your nitrogen in your soil and its bioavailability, and it probably is just coming down to lack of that nutrient in your soil more so than anything. If you have a coconut pith-based soil or a peat-based soil, you're more likely to experience lack of nitrogen just because it is more easily ran through the system. Same with a sandier soil is going to be a lot more likely to leach nitrogen out of the system. So those are things to watch out for. So the second number, that is phosphorus. And phosphorus is actually one of the initial nutrients a plant needs to kind of get going. It helps develop the roots, the leaves, and the actual shoot itself. Because it is considered soil stable, it is not leached out of the system and it kind of resides in the area that it's planted in. So if you have it throughout this entire pot, it's just going to be located throughout this entire pot, which means you can try to base it in and around your root zone. If you put it on top, it's just going to lay on top. Again, it's not leachable. It does not leach through the profile. So you kind of want to get in the wheelhouse of the roots. Top dressing is not very effective when you're trying to fertilize for phosphorus. But again, putting it underneath the root system isn't very beneficial either until your roots are able to reach there. And if they never do reach there, then that phosphorus is just kind of sitting in the soil waiting to be utilized. So because it is really important for new growth from seedling stage to adult stage, you are again going to see a deficiency or an issue in the newer growth. And a really common thing that you will see if you are phosphorus deficient in your soil is you will notice that your new leaves are reddish or purplish, and that is an indication that you are low in phosphorus. This red purple hue in the new growth is very common in tomatoes, and it's so common that people usually just assume that new tomato leaves and stems are supposed to have that purplish hue, which is not the case. It is actually usually a phosphorus deficiency. Now I know that there's obviously tomato varieties out there that are meant to look like that, but if you are growing a normal tomato variety and you're seeing that reddish purple stem or leaves, that usually means you have a phosphorus deficiency. The last number is potassium, and potassium is incredibly important when it comes to the plant's ability to handle stress. So whether that be heat, drought, cold, wind, it helps the plant manage those stressors and send the correct signals to the rest of the plant to help it survive. It also is very important in the coloring of the flower. So if you're noticing your flowers are looking a little bit washed out, then potassium is generally the go-to. Potassium is very different from the first two nutrients. It is mobile but not mobile at the same time. It is mobile in certain soils but not in others. So something like a sand or a peat soil, it is highly mobile in, meaning it will leach through the system and out of the reach of the roots. But if it is in a silty clay soil, it is not as mobile and it actually stays suspended in the system so that a plant can use it up. So if you're using a potted plant versus a flower bed, you would obviously treat and fertilize differently between the two. A really good indicator of whether or not your plant is lacking in potassium is what the edges of the leaf look like. So that would be kind of this portion here. Oh, actually, this one over here has a really good example. So this is a Hoya. He's not my favorite plant, as you can tell. He's pretty heavily abused, but this is what a potassium deficiency would look like. So see the whole plant? These newer leaves don't have what I'm going to show you, but the newer leaves won't show any signs of a potassium deficiency. It's going to be your older leaves that are going to show a potassium deficiency. So if we go farther down in the plant, you can see actually quite a few deficiencies in this plant. So right here is a scorching, and then you see kind of scorched leaf here, a scorched leaf here, and then this scorched leaf down here. You're probably thinking, well, that's a bacterial infection, or that was from a bug bite or whatever. That's actually a potassium deficiency, and that's exactly what will happen is you will get a scorching look or a dried out look on just the edges of your leaves, but on the older leaves. So that is what a potassium deficiency looks like. And the reason why I know this is a fertilizer deficiency is because the soil in this container is probably over 5 years old, and I literally never fertilized this plant. So yeah, I know what's going on here just because of the way I've treated it. But I will actually show you a phosphorus deficiency because it has a phosphorus deficiency as well. And it has a sulfur It also has a sulfur deficiency, so I'll show you that too. This is funny. Okay, so this here is my phosphorus, and you can see how it's that purple red. That's exactly what's going on there. And yeah, that's that purplish red color, and that's indicating to me that there is a phosphorus deficiency in this plant. And sometimes on a fertilizer package you will get a fourth number, and that fourth number is sulfur. And sulfur can show quite a few different forms, but generally you'll get like a leggy look or a stunted look or kind of like a shriveled, deformed look to the plant. And the shriveled, deformed look is an indication of a sulfur deficiency. So I'll just show you quickly what this looks like. This is going to show up in the older or in the newer growth as well. So on this Hoya, you're going to notice how this leaf is cupping. See how mangled it is? And this is indicating that there is a sulfur deficiency in this plant. So kind of cool. Mr. Pepper got booted because he doesn't have any deficiencies. He just has too much nitrogen. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below if you've discovered anything new in this video that you didn't know before. And as always, have fun gardening, planting, and just enjoying the great outdoors. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.